So, for some reason, my front camera is deciding not to work. So, today we're just going to look over our homework from yesterday, and we're only going to read chapter 18 today, because we have mass and double specials, really triple specials, because we have library in class. So, we are only doing one chapter today. So, let's look at that homework. All right, for chapter 16, you needed to match the characters to their dreams. So, who threw balls at a cloth cat and won the real Navajo blanket? Lurvy did. The Ferris wheel stopped and he was in the top car. Avery. Going on the swings made her sick. That one was Fern, because her, right? That helps us. She dreamt about a deep freeze unit. That one was Mrs. Zuckerman. And saw Wilbur covered in blue ribbons. Remember that picture at the beginning of the chapter, the giant pig? That was Mr. Zuckerman. And Templeton expected this one was tricky. Wanted to find good food, not just trash. You can find trash anywhere. He wanted to find all that good fair food, right? Like, rat's paradise, they said. All right, and chapter 17, Wilbur's two new problems. Well, one of them was that Uncle is a lot bigger than he is. He's the same age, so he's scared he's not going to win. And the second one, kind of had to infer a little bit, was about Charlotte. He's worried about Charlotte, so he has two new problems. And how do you think Wilbur will solve his problems? This one didn't really have a right answer. So I was just kind of looking to see what you thought about that one. Maybe he'll just be extra radiant or some pig, just really trying to show it and keep his good personality, because Charlotte said he had that going for him, right? Maybe that'll save the day. All right, let's read chapter 18 now. It's on page 138. That's the cool of the evening. So we're still at the fair, right? And it's the end of that first day. Remember how hot the day was? So now we're at the cool of the evening. In the cool of the evening, when shadows darkened on the fairgrounds, Templeton crept from the crate and looked around. Wilbur lay asleep in the straw. Charlotte was building a web. Templeton's keen nose detected many fine smells in the air. The rat was hungry and thirsty. He decided to go exploring. Without saying anything to anybody, he started off. "Bring me back a word," Charlotte called after him. "I shall be writing tonight for the last time." The rat mumbled something to himself and disappeared into the shadows. He did not like being treated like a messenger boy. After the heat of the day, the evening came as a welcome relief to all. The Ferris wheel was lighted now. It went round and round in the sky and seemed twice as high as by day. There were lights on the midway, and you could hear the crackle of the gambling machines and the music of the merry-go-round and the voices of the man in the Beano booth calling numbers. What do you think that means? Think about a fair, calling numbers in a booth. Kind of like bingo, yeah? The children felt refreshed after their nap. Fern met her friend, Henry Fussy, and he invited her to ride with him on the Ferris wheel. He even bought a ticket for her so it didn't cost her anything. When Mrs. Arabelle happened to look up into the starry sky and saw her little daughter sitting with Henry Fussy and going higher and higher into the air, and saw how happy Fern looked, she just shook her head. My, she said, "Henry Fussy, think of that." And now that's kind of, what conversation do you think Mrs. Arabelle's thinking about in her head? I bet she's thinking about her conversation with Dr. Dorian, right? When she was like, oh, she knows Henry Fussy. And now here she is with Henry Fussy. Ooh. Templeton kept out of sight. In the tall grass behind the cattle barn, he found a folded newspaper. Inside it were leftovers from somebody's lunch. A deviled ham sandwich, a piece of Swiss cheese, part of a hard-boiled egg, and the core of a wormy apple. The rat crawled in and ate everything. Then he tore a word out of the paper, rolled it up, and started back to Wilbur's pen. Charlotte had her web almost finished when Templeton returned, carrying the newspaper clipping. She had left a space in the middle of the web. At this hour, no people were around the pig pen, so the rat and the spider and the pig were by themselves. Why don't you stop there and make an inference about that picture? What do you infer the word is going to be? maybe humble, because you can see humble, and you see Templeton hiding in that. Maybe humble will be our word. I hope you brought a good one, Charlotte said. It's the last word I shall ever write. Here, said Templeton, unrolling the paper. What does it say? Asked Charlotte. You'll have to read it for me. It says humble, replied the rat. Humble, said Charlotte. Humble has two meanings. It means not proud, and it means near the ground. That's Wilbur all over. He's not proud, and he's near the ground. Well, I hope you're satisfied, sneered the rat. I'm not going to spend all my time fetching and carrying. I came to this fair to enjoy myself, not to deliver papers. You've been very helpful, Charlotte said. Run along, if you want to see more of the fair. The rat grinned. I'm going to make a night of it, he said. The old sheep was right. This fair's a rat's paradise. What eating, and what drinking, and everywhere good hiding and good hunting. Bye-bye, my humble Wilbur. Fare thee well, Charlotte, you old schemer. This will be a night to remember in a rat's life. He vanished into the shadows. Charlotte went back to her work. It was quiet. It was quite dark now. In the distance, fireworks began going off, rockets scattering fiery balls in the sky. By the time the Arabelles and the Zuckermans and Lurvy returned from the grandstand, Charlotte had finished her web. The word humble was woven neatly in the center. Nobody noticed it in the darkness. Everybody was tired and happy. Vern and Avery climbed into the truck and lay down. They pulled the Indian blanket over them. Lurvy gave Wilbur a forkful of fresh straw. Mr. Arabelle patted him. Time for us to go home, he said to the pig. See you tomorrow. The grown-ups climbed slowly into the truck, and Wilbur heard the engine start and then heard the truck moving away in low speed. He would have felt lonely and homesick had Charlotte not been with him. He never felt lonely when she was near. In the distance, he could still hear the music of the merry-go-round. As he was dropping off to sleep, he spoke to Charlotte. Sing me that song again about the dawn and the dark, he begged. Not tonight, she said in a low voice. I'm too tired. Her voice didn't seem to come from her web. Where are you? Asked Wilbur. I can't see you. Are you on your web? I'm back here, she answered, up in this back corner. Why aren't you on your web? Asked Wilbur. You almost never leave your web. I've left it tonight, she said. Wilbur closed his eyes. Charlotte, he said after a while, do you really think Zuckerman will let me live and not kill me when the cold weather comes? Do you really think so? Of course, said Charlotte. You are a famous pig, and you are a good pig. Tomorrow you will probably win a prize. The whole world will hear about you. Zuckerman will be proud and happy to own such a pig. You have nothing to fear, Wilbur. Nothing to worry about. Maybe you'll live forever. Who knows? And now go to sleep. For a while, there was no sound. Then Wilbur's voice. What are you doing up there, Charlotte? Oh, making something, she said. Making something as usual. Is it something for me? Asked Wilbur. No, said Charlotte. It's something for me for a change. What do you think she means by that? I think she means because all the stuff she's been making, like the words and the webs, have been for Wilbur, right? Now this is something for her. I wonder what it could be. Please tell me what it is, begged Wilbur. I'll tell you in the morning, she said. When the first light comes into the sky and the sparrows stir and the cows rattle their chains when the rooster crows and the stars fade when early cars whisper along the highway, you will look up here and I'll show you something. I'll show you my masterpiece. But before she finished the sentence, Wilbur was asleep. She could tell by the sound of his breathing that he was sleeping peacefully, deep in the straw. Miles away at the Arabelle's house, the men sat around the kitchen table eating a dish of canned peaches and talking over the events of the day. Upstairs, Avery was already in bed asleep. Mrs. Arabelle was tucking Fern into bed. Did you have a good time at the fair? She asked as she kissed her daughter. Fern nodded. I had the best time I've ever had anywhere or any time in my whole life. Wow, said Mrs. Arabelle. Isn't that nice? What is Mrs. Arabelle thinking about, do you think, making inference? Maybe she's inferring that Fern likes Henry Fuzzy because it was the best time she's ever had anywhere, right? Not even in the barn. Oh, man. All right, we kind of did our discussion throughout our chapters. So for your homework tonight, you have to tell me a few short answer ones tonight and one simple one, okay? So, why was Charlotte not in her web? What was she doing? Who said, I shall be writing for the last time? And who said, well, I hope you're satisfied? Who said, sing me the song about the dawn in the dark? Who said, you are a famous pig, you are a good pig? Who said, did you have a good time at the fair? And then tell me, which is a synonym for humble? Okay? So for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, you're going to want a character's name. So you probably want your book out so you can spell them correctly. Think through names of people or characters have capital letters at the beginning. All right? Well, good luck on your homework and thanks for joining. Bye.